accounting students. Professor Johnson here for an update on this week's lesson. Chapter 4 is a very important chapter. Although you may be familiar with the concept of a merchandiser, we are learning about a much more sophisticated way to account for inventory transactions, both on the buying side and on the selling side. This method that Chapter 4 uses is called a perpetual inventory system. Let's talk about the differences between a perpetual and periodic system. In the periodic system that you used in Accounting 100, the merchandise inventory account was not used at all during the year. It was simply adjusted at year end with an adjustment to take out the old and put in the new. What was necessary was a pretty long and drawn out computation for cost of goods sold. We had to remember a computation that was probably 10 lines long. There are trade-offs with each method. Read about the differences carefully in your text. We covered all the journal entries for the buying transactions using perpetual inventory. We no longer have the purchases related accounts that you use in the periodic method in your Accounting 100 course. These accounts were simply replaced by the merchandise inventory account. Every in and every out, or in other words, every movement of inventory will now be recorded in the merchandise inventory account. This account will now at all times hold the cost of the merchandise on hand. That will include both the cost of the inventory and any incoming freight charges. We also covered the journal entries for selling transactions. Remember that the biggest difference on the selling side was that every sale using a perpetual system calls for 2 journal entries. One journal entry records the revenue and the other journal entry records the expense. We practiced this at length in class. Also, we learned or reviewed how to record prompt payment discounts on both the purchases and sales of merchandise. Can you remember the accounts that we used? Review this, as this is a common source of confusion. This means that we can now track the gross profit on every transaction. We use the example of Home Depot across the street. They know exactly how much gross profit is recorded every time a customer walks out of the store. This is possible because of the use of a cost of goods sold account. It's no longer a calculation as it was in Accounting 100, but it's an account now that gets directly charged for the cost of a sale every time a sale is made. In this example, we see the first chunk of a merchandiser's income statement. Notice how the gross profit number is readily available and that the cost of goods sold is now 1 line item as opposed to 10 lines or so in Accounting 100. We then reviewed the preparation of a multi-step income statement along with the other 2 statements. I encourage you to spend some time committing the statement to memory. We will use it all semester. I suggest you break it down into chunks. Net sales literally means sales after deductions. Cost of goods sold. This is an account that will now be readily available. Gross profit is the difference between the net sales and cost of goods sold. You should also be able to compute the gross profit margin. Operating expenses are those costs of running the business, usually separated into selling and general and administrative, sometimes referred to as G&A. That gives us income from operations, which is the gross profit less the operating expenses. And then you'll see another section called Other. Specifically, this is where GAAP says we have to put the interest costs. Net income, or the bottom line, is the last line on the income statement. You also should be able to compute the net profit margin. We also learned several key ratios. This is getting you ready for Accounting 102 chapter on ratios. Specifically, we learned about the gross margin, the current ratio, and the acid test ratio. I hope you are working on creating mindful study habits. See the video located on my website. If you put in an hour or 2 of preparation time into the chapter before the lecture, you should be able to practice more using the homework and quizzes this weekend, and then spend an hour or so reviewing near the end of the weekend. A good way to do this is through the Learn Smart module. I'm here to help. All you have to do is reach out. I'm loving the journey. Signing off, Professor Johnson.